Awesome, awesome. So here we are. I'm just getting everything officially set up. Good morning, champions. So all of you out there in Facebookville and or Meta or whatever the heck it's called now, that really doesn't matter. The point is you're out here, you're listening, and welcome. Welcome to From Shy to Shine, where I really want to bring some awesome people out and let them share their story about their journey from shy to shine and really how they're shining now. Because remember our number one principle in business, shy equals broke. And then if you're less shy, you're actually less broke. So it's all about bringing your humanity back to business and bringing profits back to your life and just being excited about what you do. Because that's what we're talking about. So today we have a very special guest. I call her championess, Brianne Showman, and we're going to be talking about fitness. We're going to be talking about how to stay healthy while you're training hard. And that is so important even to me. I was telling Brianne, but Brianne, you should be very proud of me because I just finished an OCR simulation run. I'm still sweaty. And I know you're doing your workout, you said after this. So, but I got it in, I'm done, ready to start the day. And I did it safely, I think, because nothing's actually hurting. I ran mostly barefoot. I had 20 pounds on my back and I just went for it. And so far, so good.
Awesome. I love it.
So welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So I met you through Facebook and we were I was so impressed with the videos you were sharing. I was so impressed with the stuff you were posting about fitness. And, that catches my eye because fitness is a very important part of my life, physical fitness, as well as mental and spiritual and all the other stuff. So I want to start off with the infamous question. I always have to ask this, and it's the most important business question we always going to get asked. Tell me in your words, what do you really do?
Yeah, essentially what I do is I help people move better and train smarter so we become more highly functional. So we become highly functional and more resilient.
Resilience. That's a good word.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. And yeah, you mentioned about like in your mission about helping people train and live without the pain, right? Mm-hmm. So here's a question. Were you always on this mission? Was this something that you've always done, or were you shy like me at one point and just kind of doing like what you were told and the following the rules, so to speak? Or tell me about that.
Yeah, it was because of my experiences as an athlete growing up, as a PT in the insurance world, and just kind of seeing different things that really got me to where I am now. I was the athlete in high school and college who was like injured with X, Y, and Z injuries many times just because, like most people, it's like you do the brace or you go to therapy and they just treat that injury. And no one ever looked at me from like head to toe to figure out what was going on. And I didn't know that you needed to do that either because I was in high school and college. And then as a PT, like as a young PT, I just kind of did that because that's what you learned in PT school. You see the knee, you treat the knee, and and then eventually I started looking at things and realizing that like if people moved better, if we treated the body as a whole rather than a body part, like we wouldn't have a lot of these problems that we have right now. So it really shifted my mission to like, how about we stop having these chronic injuries since we don't need to be injured most of the time and learn just how to move better and train better.
What a awesome concept, but so basic. In fact, you reminded me of the song, the hip bone's connected to the leg bone, the leg bone's connected to the knee bone. And I know I'm not using proper anatomical terminology. However, you get the idea where, yes, everything is connected. How can you work on one part of your body and ignore the rest, especially if the root cause of your knee pain, let's say, is maybe how you're walking or your ankle or your foot. I know you're very passionate about, especially the feet and and that side of things. So that's fantastic. So how did you originally come to that revelation? Was there like something, were you just tired of being injured and you're like, screw this, there's got to be a different way to look at this? Or was it something that happened in your education, or just what was that turning point for you?
It was a little bit of both. So back up to 2004, actually 2003, I was training for a marathon, stepped down from a curb wrong, misstepped, bad
Right.
ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Um,
That just hurts
long
even
story
hearing it.
short,
Sorry.
long story short, went through therapy with a really good therapist, knew what he was doing. And it got to the point that it was functional, but it wasn't functional for me. I would start running and rock climbing, and a month later, like I'd be shut down for a month because I couldn't do anything. And so ended up having surgery for that. Never got my full range of motion back. And about 3 or 4 years later, I started realizing like there's still more that can be done for this to get this ankle moving better. So I started doing that. It improved a lot of my lifts. It improved a lot of other issues I was noticing. So between that and then also just starting to see patterns as a clinician, as far as like with every single shoulder patient, I'm retraining this thing. With every single like knee patient, I'm retraining this thing, and starting to notice these patterns. It really got me thinking deeper into like, how about we just learn how to not let this happen in the first place, or correct this prior to all these injuries starting.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's cool. So who do you work with now? Who's your favorite type of person? Are you working with like the weekend warriors or the professional athletes? Like where really is your heart as far as who do you just love to work with, and who do you find yourself working with the most?
Yeah. I love the ones who are like, they've been training for a while. They maybe want to go to like the next level, whether it's age group or elite or whatever. But ultimately, the ones I absolutely love working with are the ones who are dealing with injuries, have dealt with injuries for months, if not years, have seen multiple clinicians without success. Those are my favorite to work with, because those we can really dive into like, what is your body doing? How is it moving? What do we need to clean up in order to get this all to go away?
Yeah. So you find they're also more open to some different advice than they've been getting, because they're like, I tried what this doctor said, I tried what
Mhm.
that doctor said, I'm still in pain, it's not working. So, all right, Brianne, what do you got? Right? Then they're a little
Yes.
bit more open to different perspective on things, which
Exactly.
really is not that different. I mean, it's just holistic. It's just
Yeah.
you have an entire body. You're not just a knee. If you were just a knee, okay, then we would treat the knee, but you're more than a knee. In fact, that's actually a good tagline. I would probably use that. You're more than just a knee,
Ooh,
or
I like that.
you're more than just a broken ankle. So,
I like it.
something like that. We could work on that. It makes sense why you're so passionate about this, because I mean, you've been through it yourself, right? You know what it's like to go through pain and to not be able to train. What's your favorite kind of training now? I'm just curious. Like, I see you doing kind of CrossFit. I hate to, sorry, I don't want to like pigeonhole into anything, but it looks kind of CrossFit-ish, but maybe OCR, maybe a little bit of running.
Yeah, I train primarily CrossFit,
Okay.
and then run a few times a week. I just don't post my run stuff as often because it's like you can get a screenshot of
Yeah.
Strava or a picture, it's like I don't need to post this all the time. But yeah, primarily train CrossFit. Love doing like the strongman, heavy lifting stuff as well. And yeah, just kind of keep up with my running just to keep the endurance up, and that's where it falls.
All right. So I got something controversial I need to ask you.
All right, let's do
Um,
it.
you ready? Okay. In fact, I was just the call before this. I was on with another friend of mine and marketing genius, and uh, I mentioned to him that I ran barefoot this morning, which I didn't run truly barefoot. I wore the Vibram five finger, where
Oh
you're.
yeah, absolutely.
So I wore those, and he's like, "Oh no, I can't do that because I have plantar fasciitis, and I used to run marathons, and I rolled my ankle, but he wasn't wearing that. He was wearing a normal running shoe." And so he's got all these excuses, and I'm just like, I like following what nature says. If nature wants me to run a certain way or eat a certain thing, because he asked me that question, he's like, why do you use that, or why do you do that to yourself, or he said something like that, and I'm like, so what you're asking me is why would I not follow what nature intended? Because that's all I heard him asking me. And so, what is your view on not just running barefoot, but shoes, and I started learning so much about like the normal sneakers, how they push your toes together and that creates bunions. And so this is now like a big like hot topic with me. So what is your view on all that kind of stuff I just mentioned?
Awesome. I love this. Shoes are awful and they're the devil, and we like to call them foot coffins.
Thank you.
Um,
I agree.
so I heard an analogy from another barefoot guy that I know, and I loved his analogy. Like when we learn to walk, we're in our bare feet, like doing everything cool. And then shortly after that, we basically are get put in socks and put in shoes. Think if you do that the same thing to your hands from toddler, like you wore mittens all day and then put something on your hands, like your hands would not be able to function as hands, like they would not know what to do. Your feet are the exactly same way. They have a function, they have a job to do, but we don't let them do their job and then they forget how to do their job because we're in shoes all the time. So it's super important, whether it's being barefoot all the time or like at least working to that point. There's a progress there or a process there, but it's super important to teach your foot how to be a foot again if you want to really have a nice, like strong body, essentially.
I like that analogy. That actually makes a lot of sense. And I have to admit, it's a little weird getting used to it, you know, because I've worn shoes and sneakers my entire life, of course.
Mhm.
And it's just weird kind of getting used to using your big toe again, because normally your big toe is kind of squished to your second toe and
Mhm.
they kind of work in unison. They don't work separate. But with these 5-finger, and this is not a commercial for Vibram, this is just, I'm like, wow, this is cool. And I'm out walking around barefoot more often as well.
Awesome.
And I think it's strengthening my ankle. And that's what I told my friend too. I said, look, I think my ankles are getting stronger. So I'm going to have less chance of even rolling an ankle because I've got more stability and I'm working my entire chain, right? So my body's getting used to it still and taking it slow.
Good.
But no, I appreciate that. So so what are your hot buttons when it comes to fitness? What are some of the a couple things that people like always do wrong? It kind of gets under your skin and that you can maybe share a nugget and just, hey, stop doing this and start doing this or start looking at it a different way. Anything like off the top of your head, kind of hot buttons for you?
Yes. Well, shoes are a big one.
Well,
Stop
yeah,
wearing sneakers.
we got that one.
Besides that, just thinking like technique wise, watching people move, like I cringe watching people at the gym all the time, just seeing like the way people are moving, like using their back when they should be engaging their glutes. And so it's like we get constant like the talking to those people who's like, my back is always on fire. Like that shouldn't be happening from kettlebell swings or deadlifts or squats. Like you should be feeling it in your glutes. If you're feeling it in your back, you're probably doing something wrong. So that's a huge one. Another big one I see, kind of pulling the feet into it, but not meaning to specifically, is we always hear that cue, knees out, or getting your knees out over the toes, whatever, for squats. A lot of times, rather than engaging the hips, because people don't know how to, they roll to the outside of their feet. So they're basically just compensating at their foot in order to make their knees go to where they want them to, not actually using their glutes to fire. So once again, we're not truly training proper movement patterns. And then the other big one I work with a lot, especially in the CrossFit gym, is with shoulders, is people just not knowing actually how to engage their shoulder blades and have good control there. And anytime we don't do that, we lose that core control. We put the shoulder in a bad position. So a lot of times those shoulder injuries, it's simply because we don't have good control over that shoulder blade.
Hey, former competitive bodybuilder here, and I destroyed my shoulders bodybuilding with, and it's not like I had terrible form, but I didn't understand how to properly engage my shoulder girdle and actually get all those stabilizer muscles in place. And I was pushing really heavy weight, and I'm still kind of paying the price today. It's mostly healed, but I still, every now and then, it's like, Josh, you destroyed your shoulders. And I like what you said about CrossFit, because that's why CrossFit gets such a bad rap. So many people I've heard says, oh, I don't do CrossFit anymore because it hurt me, it injured me. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm gonna guess that you went too heavy, you lost your form, and you injured yourself. And it was probably your back, your lower back especially. And yeah, it's so common. But we have this ego. We have this thing like, I just want to do as much weight as possible, forgetting that that's not the point of the workout, is not to do as much weight. Hopefully it's to get in better shape or it's to win a competition, but either way, it requires good form.
Yeah. And that's what I always say. Like I always tell, well, my two favorite phrases, ego is your enemy and quality over quantity. Like if you don't have quality movement, you shouldn't be adding anything to like the weight as far as what you're doing.
Ego is the enemy. Oh, you're after my heart on that one. Because that goes to what I do in branding and everything. Like drop the ego, suppress the ego, get rid of it, throw it out. It's killing your business. And apparently, I
Mhm.
guess it's killing your body and it's killing your fitness goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not worth it. It's just not worth it.
It isn't.
So, so if you had to have a hashtag, I'm going to give you some really weird last few questions here. If you had to create your own hashtag, what would that be? Like, is there just if you had to really sum everything up in maybe a 1, 2, or 3 words?
Ooh.
I know it's a challenge. I got you on the spot here. It's fine.
You did. Well, I'm
Hey,
actually going to steal one of my colleagues, which is Barefoot
yeah.
Strong.
Ooh, I like it.
That she's a foot and ankle doc who thinks more natural movement. Hers is Barefoot Strong, which I absolutely love. I actually, so side note that you don't know about me, I actually wrote a book a couple years ago called Own Your Day, Own Your Life. And that was actually one of my hashtags in it because it plays into so
Oh,
many things. So Own Your Day, Own Your Life is a big one for me. And
what's the,
then,
can I ask what the kind of the theme of the book is? Or I can kind
yeah,
of guess, but please explain.
it's written more. I wrote it more. It was a passion project for me for business owners. Because I know like I was very much stuck in the grind of like, let's sleep 4 hours a night because we need to do all of this stuff. And I figured out how to like get past all that. And then in the meantime, I was also hearing all my colleagues really stuck in that place, not working out, not taking care of themselves. So it's very much a passion project. But basically like how to break out of the grind and kind of get your life back.
Awesome. So are you technically a solopreneur? You're kind of, you're like a individual business owner and you're kind of wearing all the hats and
Currently,
doing
we're
all that?
working on switching that, but currently.
Okay. No, my heart's with you. I appreciate that. A lot of folks in my circle, especially, and those are the ones I work with, are solopreneurs because we got to do it all,
Mhm.
and it's challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I do have one. I do have a virtual assistant that does my podcast editing and some of my social media stuff. But other than that, it's me.
Okay, all right. So good. This next question is going to kind of flow from that, I think, from that book maybe. But here's the scenario: the plane's going down. You're on a plane. Sorry, it's going down. Nothing you can do about it. You got about 30 to 45 seconds before splat. It's all over. However, you have cell service, and you can text your loved ones the 3 things, short, quick things, of course, but 3 things that you learned in life about success, the advice you would give them, the things that they should never forget, but the things that you learned, things that you believe in, and you want to leave it with them, right? So, what advice would you give to your loved ones about success, happiness, all that kind of stuff? And again, I'm putting you on the spot on this, but take your time, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, the first one that popped into my head because it was something that I ignored, or actually the 2 things, because things that I ignored and realized a couple years ago were super important, are take care of yourself first.
Ooh, so put your own mask on first, essentially.
Put your own mask on first. Yeah. Um, cherish your relationships. Let's see, those are the 2 that come off the top of my head. Third one.
Maybe something from your book. Uh,
Yeah. I'm thinking.
well, I'm fascinated by that. You have one?
Yeah. Also, I'm like, I'm trying to think how to word it, but like, remember to take a deep breath.
Ooh, I like that. Breathe, breathe. That first one is particularly intriguing because there's so many people that like they don't want to be selfish.
Mhm.
And when you say take care of yourself first, a lot of people take that as selfish, but that's
Mhm.
not what you mean by that, correct?
Not at all. Like, and and I tell this to a lot of, especially like busy moms who it's like they take care of their spouse and their kids and all this, and the last person they take care of them is themselves. And at the end of the day, like if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to get sick, you're going to get injured, and you're not going to be able to take care of them. So you really have to take care of yourself. And that doesn't mean like taking 18 hours of the day to just like do your thing, but it's making sure you do take care of yourself in all mental, physical, emotional, spiritual aspects so you can take care of those other people.
So that would be doing things like working out, for example. So physical fitness, maybe taking some time. I'm a big fan, I don't know if you are, but I'm a big fan of morning routines and intentionally giving yourself time to do something for you in the morning. So you start your day with intention as opposed to crazy accidental and, nuts, the kids are screaming, the cat's throwing up on the carpet, all the weird crap going on. So,
yes, absolutely. And yeah, and even if it's just taking like your only quiet time is when you're going to the bathroom. I know kids like to run into the bathroom, so that may not be your quiet time, but if that's your only quiet time, just take an extra 5 deep breaths while you're there, just to kind of like clear your head, get calm, that sort of thing. Like, even if it's just 5 minutes a couple times a day, taking time for yourself is super important.
or, take a good book in there with you. And I know some people who that's their library. So it's, literally a library, like, anyways. So how do people find your genius? How do people learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, my website is getyourfixpt.com. I throw up a ton of education on there. You can find a link to my podcast on there. Otherwise, my podcast is on pretty much every streaming app. It's called Highly Functional.
Ooh, I like it.
Let's see. Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook. Just search my name, or on Instagram, I am the OCR Doc.
Nice. Very, very nice. So yeah, everyone out there, look, you gotta, if you're worried about getting back into working out, if you're in that spot where you're like, I've been injured, I don't want that to happen again, or even if you're just injured now and you're just feeling the pain and it's stopping you from doing the right thing, it's stopping you from taking care of yourself, talk to Brianne. She's the one, she's got it. I'm watching her. I'm telling you, I'm watching her on social media. I'm watching her videos. She knows what she's talking about. So
Well, thank you.
we're gonna be staying in contact. I'm not gonna injure myself. That's not part of the plan.
Deal.
However, I do want to learn from you and continue to learn because, like I say, this year with going barefoot has just completely changed my perspective on fitness and everything. And I know there's still more to go. So I gotten into breathing and there's all kinds of other stuff I've been doing. So
Awesome.
this is fantastic. And the more that you can shine that brand, shine that message out there and shine that, what you're doing, I think the more people are going to get back up on their feet, off their asses, and especially out of those chairs, out of the corporate cubicle farm. Call it that.
Why I'm standing. I pretty much stand all day.
Yep, understand. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll definitely be talking again for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. This was fun.
Yes, absolutely. All right, folks, everyone out there, keep shining. And that's in order. All right. Take care.
Bye, guys.